Reincarnation.
Being, but you don't realize when you come to Earth, you forget all of that.
And we have access to this part all the time, but we ignore it. All the information I've written about, it comes through my clients. It doesn't come through me. One of the main lessons you come to Earth to learn is how to manipulate energy. Everything is energy. Mm-hmm. And you come to Earth to learn how to manipulate that, to be a master manifester. So once you learn how to manipulate energy, you can have anything you want. Nothing is impossible. They say there are no limitations except the limitations you put upon yourself. First, you have to know what you want. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, well, I need this, I want this. Those are the wrong words. Uh-huh. In creating your reality, if you say, I need, I want, see, you're creating a lack. And you're putting it off by, I want it. No, the wording is, I have it. And you've got to believe it. And it's the law of the universe called the law of abundance, the law of attraction. You can have anything you want once you know what it is. And that's what I do. I just say, okay, guys, this is the next project, do it. And it happens, now everything is happening so fast. Used to take months to get something. Now it'll happen in a matter of days, in a matter of hours, and they say even second by second. Once you have put it out there, the main goal, the objective, you have to be able to visualize that goal too, what you really want, and be able to fill it full of a lot of details. This makes it become real. But once you put it out there, then people say, okay, now how am I going to do it? Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about, I have to do this and this and this to attain that goal. Mm-hmm. Because then you're limiting them. Mm-hmm. It'll happen in ways you can't possibly imagine. Ways you would never, ever think about. It just occurs. That's why we say we sit of angels. Angels and guides have their place. They're very valuable because everyone has at least one guardian angel, guide, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has at least one assigned to you when you're born. They have to be with you your entire life. That's their assignment. They're there to help you. People are always saying, oh, I'm all alone. You're never, ever alone. They're with you all the time. And they want to help you. But they've told me, if you don't ask for our assistance, we have no one to assist. You have to ask. They can't interfere with your free will. So the angels and the guardians have a big, important part. But what we're dealing with is way, way above that. It's a huge source. There were no limitations at all. So why not work with something that powerful? It's a very strange story. But once it happened, he said he wanted the prophecies interpreted in modern English for our time, so we would know what was happening.
Nostradamus initiated contact with Miss Cannon, but it was not his spirit that spoke to her through her clients. Rather, she says, it was the prophet speaking to her while alive in his own time.
In the beginning of my work, I didn't understand about simultaneous time. Now I have a little better understanding about it. But he kept saying, you're not speaking to us, the dead, when we're doing this. I'm not a spirit floating around out here. He was living his life in his house in France, writing the prophecies. And it was very interesting because during the whole 3 books, we're interacting in his life. And we learned more about him than anybody else has ever known about him. He was telling us the worst case scenarios. What would happen if mankind didn't do something to stop it? So what he was telling us was what could happen if we went down that path. One thing he said is that there is many probabilities and possibilities to the future. It's not set in stone. There are nexus points where something has to occur, points when something they had to appear at that time. From that nexus point, time branches out in many probabilities according to which path you want to travel down. And do you want to go down the path of least resistance, where there will be the least things that will happen, or the worst possibility of that nexus point? He told us that man doesn't know the power of their own mind, that you can change the future. He said anyone can change their reality with their life by just focusing on it, because they don't know the power of their own mind. He said if one man's mind is powerful enough to change the future, imagine the power of group mind, where you get groups of people focusing on the same thing. The power is not only multiplied, it's squared. The power is tremendous. And they wanted me to go all over the world and tell everyone this about the power of their own mind. And I did this for 20 years, and I think we succeeded in changing the timeline. We're not doing the worst that he saw. We're going down a different timeline of least resistance. But it was supposed to have been, we were going to go through horrible wars first to get to this point. So we changed the timeline. And that's why I don't lecture on those anymore, because it's taken a different direction. So I've been through that, and now I'm focusing on my Convoluted Universe book series, because that has to do with complex concepts and theories. It's to stretch the mind.
The 3-volume Convoluted Universe series contains lost knowledge and secrets that Dolores Cannon says were revealed to her over a 20-year period through working with clients in past life regression sessions. Ms. Cannon delves into many complex metaphysical concepts and mysteries in the books. Among the topics covered include the history of our Earth, Atlantis, the Bermuda Triangle, the Ark of the Covenant, and the Shroud of Turin.
There's 3 books, and there are 700 pages each. Each one gets a little more complicated. I call them books for people who want their minds bent like pretzels. They deal with parallel universes, parallel realities, mysteries of the world, the pyramids, the Sphinx, the Bermuda Triangle, everything anybody ever wanted to ask a question about. They have to do with other dimensions, portals, windows, anything you could want to think about. And then it goes into things that nobody has ever thought about. But they said it's time for us to know these. Patients that have already made that shift. In my past life work, that's where I take people back to every time period you could possibly imagine. And some of them went back to those times, and they were there when the civilization itself developed to the point it didn't have to be here anymore, and the vibrations and frequencies changed to the point that they shifted to this other dimension.
Wow.
And, of course, the ones I'm speaking to, they're back in this life now. And I said, why did you come back? And they said, we came to help in this new thing where the entire planet is going to shift. So civilizations have done it. But this is the first time an entire planet is changing in frequency and vibration to go into another dimension. It's already happening. The ones who are into the negativity, and who don't believe in any of this, they will stay with the old earth. See, it's a dividing. The old earth and the new earth are splitting off. They will stay with what they have created. But it's okay. They'll eventually get there. It all has to do with free will, so you can't change anybody's belief system. The earth is a living being. And it is going into its next incarnation. It's evolving. Just took it a little longer because it's a larger body. And that's what's going through right now, the changing of the vibrations and the frequencies.
What specific changes will humanity undergo to match the development of our planet?
Our vibration and frequency has to change to match it as it evolves. And this has been happening, I believe, it started about 2003, and it's been happening gradually since. This is such a strong energy shift. If it were to happen all at once to your body, you couldn't handle it, your body would be destroyed. So it has to happen gradually. And that's what it's been doing, gradually, little by little. And time is definitely speeding up. Scientists have proved this. Now we're living actually 16-hour days instead of 24. They said the clocks aren't going to show it. But time is speeding up to where everything is accelerated. It's a gradual process that happens little by little. And you won't notice it, except there will be some physical effects. And a lot of people go running to the doctors, and the doctors can't find anything wrong with them. These physical effects will happen like for a few days, and then they'll taper off, and maybe you won't feel it again for another week or maybe another month as the body adjusts to this changing and raising of the vibrations. All the ETs, all the other beings out there are watching Earth to see, are we going to be able to do this? I've got lots and lots of questions about what's going to happen. They always tell me, we can't answer your questions because we don't know. It's never happened before. We're all learning in the process. But it is a division, and the old earth is there for those, if that's what they want. They're staying with what they have created. We're going to move on, but they said eventually they'll catch up. All the disasters, the wars, and everything will be with the old earth. And you begin to notice a division as you begin to pull away from it. That's what I mean about the old world and the new world.
Wow.
You learn to tell the difference. How many people are noticing their diets changing? This is another big factor in it. They said the best food is live foods, which they consider to be fresh fruits and vegetables. Because if we want to go, we have to make our body lighter in order to shift, to raise the vibration. In my books, Keepers of the Garden and the Custodians, I've done over 25 years work with ETs and UFOs, and I've not found any negativity whatsoever. It's beautiful, positive beings. What I've discovered in those, they're the ones that created the human beings on Earth. It goes all the way back to the beginning of the world. And I've had clients who went back there at those times when the world was being created, when the Earth was volcanic eruptions and lava and all the ammonia in the air. They went back to those times to where their job was to help clean the air out. and to stabilize the earth, because you had to do that before you could have any life here. Then after all that was calmed down, they had to create the water. These are just ordinary people that relive these lifetimes. So you can see, if you had a life where you helped create a planet, if you helped create water, give life to a planet, you don't think you can create your life now?
Wow.
You are a co-creator with God. You always have been. You have great had to have plants before you could have life. So they're the ones that created the life. They brought single-celled organisms to the planet. Now, people say, where is God in all of this? He's very much there, because God is the one who told them where to go. And many of them, this is their job, to go all over the universe, finding planets that have developed to the point they can have life. Earth got to that point that it could cool down enough that we could have life. They have histories of all the planets in the councils. There's councils over everything. And so when a planet reaches that point, it is given its life charter. Then it's decided by these other beings, and this is what they do, and they live enormously long lifetimes, because there is no time anyway. And so they're told to go to the planet and start, and they bring single-celled organisms to the planet just to see if they can get something started. And it depends on the primeval soup of the planet, the chemicals in the air, the soil, what is going to develop. They never know. The single-celled organisms begin to clump together to make multi-celled organisms and develop life of some kind. You would be surprised what you could have looked like. It all depends on the development. Where do these cells come from? They collect them from everywhere, and they just see what is going to grow and combine together. And it will begin to develop into plants, into animals, life of some sort. You can imagine how long this would have taken. So I've had people go back to lifetimes when they were the seeders, trying to spread life to get it going. But if you can get something going, then they come back over eons of time and groom it to get it to go. Like plants have to be there before you have animals. A lot of the animals were brought from other planets just to see what would grow here and what would evolve here. So they said, give this beautiful planet a being with intelligence and free will, and see what he does with it. This is one of the most difficult, challenging planets to live on. So to come here, you have to be a master manifester, even be allowed to step foot on this planet. Because it's so hard, the lessons are so hard. And then when you come, of course, all the memories erased. You forget the rules. You forget why you're here. As the animals began to develop, they picked the monkey to manipulate the genes in order to create people, because it had a big brain capacity and it also had hands. You've got to have hands if you're going to create tools. You know, we are about 98% compatible genetically with the ape. So we are so closely related. So they picked that one and they began to manipulate it to create a